Today's story unravels the eerie and haunting tale of two young women, Narumi Takumi and Megumi Yashiki, who embarked on a seemingly adventurous journey that would turn into one of Japan's most perplexing mysteries. On a fateful night in 1996, the two friends set out on what they called a courage test, a popular activity among thrill seekers intrigued by the supernatural. However, their trip took a sinister turn when they vanished without a trace, along with their car. For 24 years, their disappearance baffled authorities, haunted their families, and spurred countless theories and speculations. The mystery was finally unraveled from a source so unexpected that it sent shockwaves across the nation. On the evening of May 5th, 1996, Narumi Takumi and Megumi Yashiki made a spontaneous decision that would alter the course of their lives forever. They informed their families that they were heading out for a courage test, a popular practice where people visit haunted or dangerous locations to prove their bravery. Both 19 years old at the time, Narumi and Megumi were high school friends who had remained inseparable even after graduation. Their bond was so strong that they often shared the same interests and hobbies, one of which was their fascination with the occult. Living in Toyama City, Japan, Narumi and Megumi led relatively normal lives on the surface. Narumi was employed at a local company, while Megumi worked as a convenience store clerk. However, beneath their everyday routines lay a deep-seated interest in the supernatural. This passion was not uncommon in Japan during the 1980s and 1990s, a period when the country was swept up in a craze for the paranormal. Haunted locations, known as spirit spots, became popular destinations for those seeking a thrill, and people of all ages would embark on journeys to experience these eerie places firsthand. Narumi and Megumi were no exception. They were captivated by the stories and legends surrounding these haunted sites, and often discussed visiting them to test their courage. On that fateful night in May, their destination was the infamous Tsubono Hotel, a place shrouded in mystery and fear. The Tsubono Hotel, located in Wozu City in the eastern part of Toyama Prefecture, was a place that had earned a fearsome reputation over the years. Although Wozu was the seventh largest city in Japan, the hotel itself was situated in a remote area, nestled deep within the mountains and accessible only by treacherous mountain roads. The hotel had been developed in 1956 as an onsen hot spring resort, part of a larger plan that included a tourist site, a ski resort, and a theme park. For a time, it seemed destined for success, attracting visitors from across the region. However, the hotel's fortunes took a tragic turn. A young boy drowned in the hotel's pool, marking the beginning of a series of unfortunate events. In 1982, during a period of aggressive expansion, the hotel manager mysteriously disappeared without a trace, leaving the hotel's future in jeopardy. This disappearance, combined with financial difficulties, led to the hotel's closure. But the tragedies did not end there. Over the years, unexplained fires broke out around the hotel, and it became the subject of numerous rumors and ghost stories. One of the most chilling tales involved the ghost of the young boy who had drowned. According to legend, his spirit, swollen and blue from the water, wandered the hotel's halls at night, searching for his parents. Another story claimed that the missing hotel manager had been seen crawling through the boiler room, his face twisted in agony. These stories, along with other bizarre rumors, such as bugs planted in the hotel to eavesdrop on visitors and ominous warnings against visiting in a white car, only added to the hotel's terrifying reputation. As the years passed, the Tsubono Hotel became a magnet for paranormal enthusiasts and thrill seekers. The media eagerly sensationalized the hotel's haunted history, and it was soon listed among Japan's top 100 haunted spots. The hotel's eerie allure was irresistible to those fascinated by the supernatural, and it wasn't long before Narumi and Megrim decided to see it for themselves. On the night of May 5th, 1996, at 9 p.m., Narumi and Megumi set off in Megumi's car, full of excitement and anticipation. Their plan was to explore the haunted halls of the Tsubono Hotel and test their courage. As they drove through the night, they followed the national highway towards Uozu City, where the hotel was located. At around 10 p.m., they stopped to refuel their car and left a message on their pocket pager, a device similar to a pager that allowed them to send messages to their friends. The message, which read, "We are now in Uozu City," was the last communication anyone would receive from them. After sending the message, Narumi and Megumi disappeared without a trace. When they failed to return home, their families grew increasingly worried and reported them missing to the police. The authorities launched a full-scale search for the two young women, but their efforts were in vain. Narumi and Megumi had vanished along with their car, leaving behind no clues or evidence of what had happened to them. As the investigation unfolded, a disturbing detail came to light. This was not Narumi and Megumi's first visit to the Tsubono Hotel. According to their friends and acquaintances, the two had visited the hotel once before the night they disappeared. They had been intrigued by the hotel's haunted reputation and had returned on May 5th for a more in-depth exploration. The police learned that the pair had purchased flashlights from the convenience store where Megumi worked, and had even invited another employee to join them on their adventure. Despite this information, the search yielded no results. The disappearance of Narumi and Megumi's car only deepened the mystery. The police deployed helicopters and search teams to scour the surrounding cliffs and areas prone to accidents, but no trace of the vehicle was found. As the days turned into weeks, the case began to attract widespread attention, and theories about the girls' fate started to circulate. Some speculated that they had been taken by spirits at the Tsubono Hotel, while others suggested they had been abducted by North Koreans. The most plausible theory was that they had encountered trouble from gang members or delinquents who frequented the hotel. The Tsubono Hotel had long been known as a hideout for gangs from various regions, and it was not uncommon for these groups to use the abandoned building as a base of operations. Despite these theories, the investigation reached a frustrating dead end. No witnesses came forward, and no evidence was found to support any of the possible scenarios. The police were left with more questions than answers, and the case eventually went cold. For years, Narumi and Megumi's families were left in a state of limbo, unable to find closure as they continued to hope for a miracle. Then, 18 years after the disappearance, the case took an unexpected turn. In 2014, the police received a tip from someone who claimed to have witnessed a car with two women inside plunge into the sea late at night on the day Narumi and Megumi went missing. This new information suggested that the girls might have visited the Tsubono Hotel and then returned to Kaiwomaru Park in the early morning hours. However, for reasons that remain unclear, it took the police 5 years to follow up on this lead. Finally, in 2019, the police identified 3 individuals who were believed to be witnesses to the incident. In January 2020, the police interviewed these witnesses to verify the authenticity of their testimonies. To everyone's surprise, 24 years after the incident, the witnesses were able to recall the events of that night with remarkable accuracy. They testified that on the day of the incident, they had seen two women sitting in a car in the parking lot of Kaiwomaru Park. The witnesses had tried to approach the car and talk to the women, but suddenly, the woman driving the car reversed rapidly before accelerating straight into the sea. When asked why they hadn't reported this at the time, the witnesses admitted that they had been too scared to do so. Their fear had kept them silent for over 2 decades, but now their testimony was the key to solving the mystery of Narumi and Megumi's disappearance. Acting on this new information, the police conducted a search of the sea near the pier at Kaiwomaru Park. There, they found a car submerged in the water. Inside the vehicle, they discovered several bones, which DNA tests later confirmed to be the remains of Narumi Takumi and Megumi Yashiki. The discovery of the car and the remains brought a long-awaited sense of closure to the case, but it also raised new questions. As news of the discovery spread, many people began to criticize the witnesses. Some suggested that the witnesses might have been involved in the girls' deaths and had disposed of their bodies in the sea to cover up their crime. Others believed that the witnesses had simply been too scared to come forward earlier, but their silence had prolonged the suffering of Narumi and Megumi's families. Despite these suspicions, the police were unable to pursue any legal action against the witnesses. The statute of limitations for any potential crimes had already expired, as more than 15 years had passed since the incident. Without direct evidence or a clear cause of death, the police had no choice but to release the three witnesses after further questioning. Narumi and Megumi's families, who had endured years of uncertainty and pain, were left to grapple with the knowledge that they would never know the full truth of what happened that night. Ultimately, this case was concluded as a traffic accident, but the full truth remains known only to the three male witnesses. Could they really have ignored the truth for over 20 years simply because they were scared?